Hi loves, how are you all doing today? Welcome back to Eco Designs to Fit YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys how to make this beautiful gown with a bishop collar and a bishop sleeve. So here are the materials I'm going to be needing. I have my Ankara print right here, the lining and the lace, which I'm going to be using to form the sleeve and then added to the bustier. Okay, so this is my Ankara print and the lining, and then this is the lace. This is the velvet ribbon, although I later changed it to a green one. So I'm going to put this aside and then let's start with drafting the upper part, which is the bodice. Okay, so first of all, what you want to do is to mark out the baseline. So this baseline is going to be serving as the shoulder line. Now on this shoulder line, place your tape right there and then mark out your vertical measurements. So leaving my tape at the baseline, I'll go down to 11 inches, which is the bust points, 15 inches the under bust point, and then 18 inches the half length. Okay, so once you are done with this, go ahead and square up your lines, just as you can see me doing like this. Now once you are done with that, you are going to divide your shoulder measurements into two, but first of all you are going to have to label all your lines so that you won't get yourself confused. So right now what I'm going to be doing is to mark out my neckline. So now, because the upper part is going to be a lace and this lace is stretchy, I'm going to be using standard width of 3 inches, and then the length I'm going to be making use of 4 inches. So once you mark this out, go ahead and use your French curve and connect your lines. Okay, so I've connected the neckline, and the next thing is to divide my shoulder measurement into two. I'll go ahead and mark it out and then come down by 1 inch, which is the shoulder slope, because our shoulder spine is not straight. So once you are done with that, you're going to have to connect the shoulder slope into the neckline, and then from this shoulder slope you're going to go down and mark your chest line. Okay, so to get your chest line, you're going to have to divide your bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 inches, or you can simply go ahead from the bust points, go up by 2 inches. Now once you are done, connect the shoulder slope and the chest line, and that is going to be serving as the armhole depth. Okay, so on this armhole depth, you're going to have to divide it by 2, whatever you have right there, input and then go in by half an inch. All right, so once you are done, on the chest line you are going to have to divide your bust circumference by 4 and then you mark it out. So after you mark it out, you want to add up half an inch for armhole ease. This is what I actually love doing and it comes out nicely. Okay, so and once you are done, you're going to have to connect your armhole and then go down to the bust point, divide your bust circumference by 4 and then you mark it out. On the under bust line, divide your under bust circumference by 4 and you mark, and then repeat the same thing for the waist circumference divided by 4. You go ahead and mark it out and then you connect all these lines together. Now once you are done with this, the next step is to go ahead and divide your nipple to nipple measurement by 2. So for this client, her nipple to nipple measurement is 8. I'll divide it by 2 and then add half an inch. So I'll be marking on the bust points, under bust point and waistline 4.5 inches, and I'll go ahead and connect the lines straight down to the waist. And once you are done with that, on the bust point line, go ahead and go down by half an inch and then go up by half an inch also. Okay, now going back to the shoulder line, go ahead and divide your shoulder into 2 again, just as you can see me doing like this, and then connect it to the bust point. Okay, From here, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead and remove my waist dart. Now to do this, I'm going to come over to the side fronts and then take in 2 inches on the waistline and the under bust line, and then I'll go over to the center front and take in half an inch on both the under bust and the waistline. So this simply means that I took in 2.5 inches on both under bust and the waistline, and then I will simply go ahead and connect them just like you can see me doing like this. So you guys, you can see that our bustier is taking shape. So now once you are done with that, you're going to measure what you have in between the bust point and the under bust point, and then starting from the bust point, you're going to mark it upwards. So I marked 4 inches right there, and this is going to be where my yoke is going to start from. Okay, so if you want your cleavage to show more, you can easily go downward a little bit, but whereby you don't want it, you can use this to measure it. Okay, so now to tighten our over bust points, okay, I'm going to be making use of 1.5 inches. So I simply went ahead to share this equally on both the center front and the side fronts. So right there, I made use of 3/4 of an inch on both sides. Okay, and then went ahead to connect it into the bust point line, just as you can see me doing like this. So now once I am done with that, you guys, I'm going to have to extend the dart leg of the center front. Okay, because over my years of experience, I've noticed that if you don't do this, you are going to run short of the fabric by the time you try joining your bustiers together. Okay, so you know that the side front is more curvy than the center front. So in this case, the side front is already longer than the center front, so that's why you need to increase it so that when you try joining them, both of them can match up. Okay, so once you are done with that, you are going to have to go ahead and replace whatever you took out as your over bust on the chest line, and please don't forget to replace it around the armhole area. Okay, I didn't do that right here because I totally forgot, but I went ahead to do that before cutting on fabric. Now going down to the under bust points, you're going to have to replace whatever that you took out from there and then add your sewing allowance. Repeat the same thing on the waistline, replace whatever that you took out and then add up your sewing allowance. All right, now once you are done with this, you're going to have to go ahead and add up half an inch for joining this half scale into the down part. Now once you are done with that, please don't forget to add up half an inch for your shoulder joining. Okay, so I've gone ahead to do this, and you guys, we are going to have to cut out our front block. Okay, now to cut this out, I'm going to start with the 1 inch that I extended around the center fronts, because we need to replace this back, okay, to match up with the yoke. All right, so you know that our yoke has been short. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and replace back the 1 inch. Now once you are done with that, right on the bust point line, you're going to have to come down by 2 inches. Now this is called the bust dart technique. Okay, so this is simply the distance between the front length and the back length. Okay, and then not to run short of fabric, you are going to have to come out by 0.75 inches. Okay, so once you are done with that, go ahead and continue your cutting. You can see I have my front yoke already, and then I went ahead to continue cutting this out. So guys, once you are done, I'm going to go ahead and open up the bust darts, and then I would close it up back. And after I close it up back, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the remaining to match up with the side seam. Okay, so you guys, you can see what you have right there. We are done with our front block. So this is what your front should look like. Okay, so I'm going to label these. This is my side front and this is the center fronts. So you can see this is what we have. So now you guys, we are going to have to bring in another paper so that we can cut the back. Okay, so now for the back, I've gone ahead to mark out all my important lines. I have my zipper allowance, I have my shoulder line, and then from the shoulder line I went down to 11 inches, and then the length of this. Okay, so the length is 16 inches. Remember, like I told you during the bust dart intake, the difference between the front and the back is 2 inches. So you can see that the back length is 16 inches right here. So I have my chest line, the bust point, and the waist line as well. Now what I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and input my neck width. Okay, 3 inches, and for the back neck depth I'm going to make use of 1/2 inch. And you guys, whatever it is I am inputting now is going to start after the zipper allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines, and then the next thing I would connect it into the shoulder slope. Now I would simply go ahead and measure the distance between the slope and the chest line, okay, which is 8 inches divided by 2. I would go ahead and mark out 4 inches, and then right on the chest line I would divide my bust circumference by 4, input whatever it is I have right there, go ahead and input it on the bust point as well, and I would go down to the waistline, divide my waist circumference by 4, and then mark it out. Now once I am done with that, I'm going to input my nipple to nipple measurements starting from the bust point line. So right after the zipper allowance, I would mark on the bust point line 4 inches inward, and then mark on the waistline again 4 inches inward. Now once I am done, going back to the shoulder slope, I will divide whatever it is I have right there into 2, and then connect it into the bust point line and down to the waistline. So guys, once I am done with this, I'm going to draw the chest line across over just like this, because I need to mark down 1 inch from the chest line. Okay, now for my waist dart, I'm going to be making use of 2 inches. All right, so I'll simply share it equally on both sides, 1 inches, and then connect it into the 1 inch below the chest line. Okay, now for my yoke, if you want to make use of yoke right here, you're going to go up by 4 inches. Okay, just like the front, but then I see no reason for making use of yoke for the back, but if you want to do that, it's up to you. So what I'm going to do now is to replace my waist dart on the waist points, and then input the sewing allowance. I'll repeat the same thing on the chest line and on the bust points. Okay, and then simply connect all these lines together. Now once I am done with this, you guys, don't forget to connect your armhole, because I almost forgot. And then once you are done with this, you're going to have to input 1/2 inch for your shoulder sewing allowance, and then also input 1/2 inch for joining the back into the down part. Okay, So guys, this is what your back block should look like, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And now to tighten our waist to avoid any form of zip bulge, I'm going to come in by 1 inch and then connect it into the upper part of my neckline just like this, and then I'll go ahead and cut out the that just like this. So guys, here is what our pattern looks like after we cut out the back and the front block. Now I'm going to go cut this out on fabric, and to cut this out on fabric, the only place I'll be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance right now is around the dart area of the back. Okay, now I'm going to go cut this out on fabric and come show you guys what I have right here. So this is what I have for both the actual piece and the lining. I've gone ahead to add up my interface for the lining and the actual piece. Now we are going to go sew this up together. Okay, so I would simply set it just like this. This is the center front and the side front. Now this is the center back and the side back. Now for the back, I'm going to go join this just like this and also join the front. And also before I join them together, I would attach the lace on top of it. Okay, so you guys, you can see this is the front. I've actually joined this together. This is my center front and the side front, and this is the back of the actual piece. Okay, so now we bring in the lining to show you guys what I have right there. So here is my lining, this is the back of my lining, and this is the front of my lining. Okay, so guys, the next step I'm going to take right now is to go ahead and join in my yoke. This is my yoke. I've also gone ahead to cut it out. Okay, so what you just have to do is to use all your patterns and cut out whatever it is that you need on fabric. Okay, so I'll go join my yoke right now. So this is my yoke. I've joined it to the bustier and then attached the lining as well. Okay, so I've gone ahead to turn the back. So for the back, I turned just the zipper side and then left the neckline open because of our bishop collar. Okay, so I would go ahead and top stitch on top the neckline of the back and then join the zipper allowance. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in my velvet ribbon. Remember, on the onset, that is the beginning of this tutorial, I showed you a black velvet, but I feel like it's going to be dull, so I bought this particular green one. So this is what I'm going to use to decorate the fronts. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and use hemming gum to gum this into each and every point I'm going to be placing this. Okay, so I'm going to be placing one right on the yoke and also one around the overbust points, another one around the underbust points, and then on the waistline. Okay, although I didn't remember to put on the waistline, but before I gave this dress to the clients, I did that. Okay, and then around the bust pan, you're going to have to input another one. You guys just ensure that you made use of your hemming tape to hold all of this down before you sew it. Okay, and then I also went ahead to form like a tie around the overbust. So you guys, after I was done with all of this, this is the final look. You can see this is beautiful and very elegant. Okay, so guys, I have my back as well. I've gone ahead to join the zipper allowance and then top stitch around the neckline. So next thing is for us to join the shoulders together and then join the side seams. Okay, so if you know your client's measurements, go ahead and measure it out and then shape all this. Okay, now that I am done, I'm going to show you what I have. So guys, this is what I have right now. I have joined the shape and then joined the shoulders together. Now I'm going to fix in the bishop collar. I actually have a detailed tutorial on how I fix a bishop collar into this particular bustier. Okay, so this is my fabric and the lace. I've gone ahead to glue the lace on top the right part of my fabric and then cut out my collar. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to fix this. So this is my collar. What you want to do is to locate the center of your collar and then locate the center of your neckline. Now you're going to match up the center of the collar and the neckline of your blouse, and then you go ahead and fix this. Okay, so you guys, this is what we have. This is our collar. Now it's time for us to go ahead and cut out the down part, okay, which is the flare. So you guys, for the down part, this down part would be kind of confusing to you, but I'll try my best to explain this. So I'm going to fold my fabric into 4. So first of all, I'm going to fold into 2 and then fold in a triangular form. Now the total length of the gown is 62 inches. To cut out my flare, I'm going to consider that from the upper part of my gown to the length of the flare is 45 inches. Okay, now this 45 inches, I'm going to minus 18 inches from there, and what I'm going to have is 27 inches. So now this 27 inches is going to be the length of my flare. Okay, now to get the radius of my flare, I'm going to have to divide my round waist measurement by 3.14. I hope you guys can relate. All right, so the round waist is 33 inches. I'm going to plus 2 inches for zipper allowance and then divide it by 3.14, which is formula for getting the radius of half flare. Okay, because this is a half flare that we are cutting. So from the triangular part of this my fold, I'm going to place my tape and then mark and bring out the radius. Now from the radius, I'm going to go ahead and then mark 27 inches. But you guys, my total length didn't just end on these 27 inches because I need about 1 inch to join this to the third layer. Okay, because I still need to cut out another layer, which is going to be the last layer. Okay, so you can see that I actually made this up to about 30 inches. So you guys, we are done with this. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the length and then cut out the radius as well. So you guys, this is our half flare. I'm going to equally cut out lining for this as well. Okay, so guys, once you are done with this, the next step is for you to bring in the flare. And remember that this flare is on fold and you have to measure around the down part. So here I have 60 inches. Now 60 plus 6, I have 66 inches. Okay, because it's on fold, by the time you plus 66 plus 66 is 132 inches. So for you to get what should be enough for the third layer, you're going to have to times this 132 inches by 3. Okay, so you guys, you won't believe that I consume all the whole fabric because I'm making this outfit. All right, so guys, this is the length. I'm trying to cut it out, so I went ahead to fold into 2, and then the length of the third layer is going to be 17 inches because the total length of my gown is 62 inches. Right, now from the shoulder to the flare is 45 inches. Now minus 62 from 45, you're going to be having 17 inches. So this is how we arrived at the length of the third layer. So I've cut out 2. I'm going to use it to cut out the remaining pieces and then join them together. Now once you are done with that, go ahead and fix your lining into the flare. You're going to have to match up the lining. You're not going to turn it. Okay, so and once you are done with the lining, you're going to bring in the down part, which is the third layer, and then gather it and fix to the down part of the flare. Now cut your sleeve, which is a bishop sleeve, and then fix it to the gown. So you guys, this is the end of this tutorial, and this is the outcome of our gown. I hope this video was helpful. If it is, please give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.